What do we know about werewolves? And did these creepy creatures ever really live or still live on the same planet with us? In science, the word werewolf is neatly replaced by the term lycanthrope, which comes from the Greek language and literally translates as man the wolf. It is true that some dictionaries interpret lycanthropy as the transformation of a witch into a wolf. Experienced doctors of bygone years described various psychiatric disorders in their patients, when a person literally went mad, suggesting to himself that he could reincarnate into some animal, usually a wolf, but also not excluded a dog, a horse, a cat, and others. However, all of these are only extant references to acute mental illness. But what about the strange, mysterious stories still preserved in old archives in various parts of the world of priestly records, doctor's notes, police notes, and other mentions of ancient chronicles on behalf of various chroniclers? Let us hear about some of them. In 1598, in the Condé region of France, the locals were greatly frightened by a series of gruesome murders, so bloody and inhumane that little by little people began to talk about the appearance of the man-eating wolf. The boiling point was the death of a little girl. Witnesses reported 3 wolves spotted near her body. Immediately thereafter, people in Condé County were alarmed by the atrocity of an unknown murderer, and a group of peasants mustered their courage and went into the woods to retrieve the body of the child. When they arrived at the place, they saw only one wolf, which, according to witness accounts, rushed from one jump and disappeared into the bushes. In pursuit of the bloodthirsty beast, the peasants discovered in the bushes a ragged man with a tangled beard, long, shaggy hair, and crazy eyes. Of course, he was immediately seized and immediately taken to the magistrate. During further interrogation, the man admitted that he is none other than a werewolf. Moreover, the man reported that the 2 wolves seen with him recently are his brother and sister, who are also able to turn into wolves with the help of magic ointments. This story does not contain any details of further interrogations, only that the accused was treated too humanely for those times. Yes, at first the court sentenced him to death, but soon, apparently having found him insane, a panel of judges from Paris insisted that a madman could not be tried. So the sentence was reviewed, and the strange criminal was sent to an asylum for the rest of his life. A very similar testimony of the same 16th century is the record of the strange case of a Frenchman who confessed to communing with a wolf and taking the form of this beast after dealing with the devil. That Frenchman's name was Jean Perel, and before his execution in 1518, he confessed to the judges how he hunted people by turning into a wolf. It is worth noting that here, too, it was reported about transformations with the help of a special ointment. Note, this is another mention of some magical substance capable of transforming a person. It is also interesting that when the defendant was telling exactly how he made the ointment, several people in the courthouse fainted. Also, the investigation had speculation that Perel lived with the she-wolves by hiding them in his house. But this werewolf was much less fortunate, and after prolonged torture, the unfortunate man was sentenced to be burned and his ashes scattered in the wind. Stories of werewolves can probably be found among any nation, but one of the most sensational cases of lycanthropy was the story of a werewolf from Bordeaux, again France, in the late 18th century. At a certain period of time, the neighborhood of the village of Saint-Sevé became a slaughterhouse where, one after another, horrific and mysterious events began to occur. Wolves began to attack people and livestock on a regular basis, and more often than not, such incidents ended in someone's death. Fear of bloodthirsty predators soon forced people to lock themselves up at night, afraid to stick their noses out until morning. Although it didn't help much, the wolf attacks continued, as did the human deaths. Wolves came at the unfortunates day and night, and Margaret, a local girl herding sheep near the village, once told how she personally fought off an attacking beast with a stick. However, from her descriptions, we could assume that it was not quite an ordinary wolf. Yes, he looked like him, but he was shorter and thicker, had red hair, a short tail, and a smaller head than usual. After some time, the mysterious wolf killer was still caught. The case was the most unusual because it was not just a wolf, but a wolf man. He appeared to be a lad of about 15 or 16 years of age. who was a shepherd employed by a wealthy landowner living near Saint-Sever. The teenager who was captured introduced himself as Jean Grenier. When questioned by the judges, he explained that once in the woods he had managed to meet a demon who introduced himself as the master of the forest. Taking an oath from the boy to serve him in return, the demon gave him the ability to turn into a wolf, as Grenier himself later recounted. He said that he possessed wolf skin and periodically went on the hunt for children at the behest of his master. Before turning into a wolf, the boy hid his clothes in the bushes and rubbed himself with some unusual ointment stored in his pot. Even his very young age could not save Grenier's life. Like all those affected by lycanthropy before him, he was condemned and publicly executed. It is also worth noting that after the execution, attacks on humans by animals stopped. The first legend of the transformation of the wolf dates back to ancient Greece. One day Zeus decided to visit King Lycaon as a simple wanderer, who in turn suspected that his guest was one of the gods and arranged a test. Served Zeus a treat of human meat. Zeus, enraged, destroyed Lycaon's palace and turned him into a wolf for the rest of his life. This is how the term lycanthropy appeared, meaning the transformation of man into a beast. In ancient times, wolves were highly revered animals. Many warriors chose this animal as their totem. According to legend, a man with the soul of the wolf had the stamina, strength, and speed, as well as intelligence, which made him invincible in any battle. In history, there are not a few mentions of tribes living in different parts of the world, which likened themselves to wolves. For example, the Balts had a caste of warriors who were servants of the wolf god. These werewolves, before every battle, held a special ritual, which included taking plants that contained narcotic substances. Under the influence of the plant, warriors saw hallucinations of their transformation into wolves and went into battle in animal form. The same Scandinavian berserkers professed the cult of the wolf. In their fury, they went into battle dressed in wolf skins. With the widespread spread of Christianity, all wolf cults were considered pagan, and they were ruthlessly fought against. The early church founding fathers denied any possibility of the existence of any werewolves or lycanthropes, but a little later, peasant preachers changed their minds. Later legends of wolves and werewolves appeared in the 14th century. In a medieval town, there was a mass dog attack on pets. On finding the pack, the townspeople discovered a wolf in the pack, which allegedly knows how to turn into a human. Later, the werewolf himself was identified. One of the residents was accused of lycanthropy. Under torture, the man confessed that he turns into a wolf and committed several murders. He was executed, of course, but the story got a lot of publicity, and soon there was talk of werewolves in all the towns and villages. These rumors were supported in every way possible by the Inquisition, which was happy to start looking not only for witches, but for shapeshifters as well. Many people confessed under torture to the ability to turn into beasts, and the number of werewolves burned at the stake numbered in the hundreds, if not thousands.